Congratulations to Johnny Depp. Against all odds, he pulled it off. No longer will men not be taken seriously when women ravage them. No longer will we be laughed at because Johnny represented us all. So tonight we celebrate. And while I don't have a mega pint, I do have an Optimus pint. So cheers, Johnny, and men everywhere. This one's for you.
Supreme victory!
Holy crap, I mean, a lot of us, we knew that this should be the proper outcome, but I think a lot of people were not so hopeful because of the justice system, and when it comes to things like domestic violence, how the system is biased towards women, you know, which I understand why it is, because on average, men are the ones that are, you know, beating the crap out of the women. But then, because of that, the overcorrection, when men are getting beaten or men are getting abused, people are kind of like, oh, you know, they're just not that interested. It's not taken seriously. Men are laughed at. It's dismissed. It's like, be a man, you know. To be a man is really to suffer in silence. That's what that largely means. You know, that's when you hear people talk about toxic masculinity, that's like real toxic masculinity. Not just like the positive traits of a man, but the ones that causes them to just swallow their stress, swallow their everything, just deal with it on their own and stew in it until it, you know, consumes you and you die early. So, Amber Heard lost. Crazy. And she's been ordered to pay, I think, 10 milli, if I'm not mistaken. I saw a couple of different numbers. I saw 13, but I also saw 10. I think 10's the correct one. But pretty nuts, man. It's pretty cool to see, but it's also pretty interesting seeing the people who are sad, seeing the people who claim to have watched the trial, but they're more concerned about like they're like focusing on like, say, the small group of maybe the misogynistic tweets that you can actually find, you know, because like there's people that are just, no matter what, they would just be on Johnny's side just because Amber's just a stupid woman or whatever. But this is obviously way bigger than that. There is a wave. If you just look at the hashtags, there is a wave of women that are just like, yeah, I'm a feminist, but I'm not an idiot. Like, I'm just looking at what I'm seeing, and this trial is about the defamation. Did she cause damages to Johnny Depp's career with that op-ed? Yes, absolutely. Did she lie about a lot of stuff? Absolutely. Did she paint it as like she's just a total victim? Absolutely. And going through the trial, that's clearly not the case. So it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty cool. So this is Twitter trash, so we're gonna go through some of the tweets. There's a ton of them, but let's just go through a little bit of the narratives here and there, and that's about it. So I want to start off with one tweet that kind of really, I would say, nail in the coffin of how a lot of people felt. Amber Heard, I was not punching you, I was hitting you. Camille Vasquez, imagine if Mr. Depp were the one saying this to Miss Heard. Case fucking closed. I just wanted to start with that because that's not trash. Obviously, I agree with that 100%. And I think this is something that like really hit home with a lot of people because it's so insanely true. We know there's a double standard for a lot of things, and this is one of them, absolutely for sure. There are women out there right now defending Amber Heard, knowing that this is something that she said, and they're just like, whatever. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But this is something that they would obviously never be able to get over if Johnny Depp was the one recorded saying that. So it's one of those things where it makes you think like, oh yeah, if we're gonna be equal, if we're gonna do this whole equality thing, if we're gonna do this whole egalitarian thing, we have to believe Johnny as well, and we have to listen to this testimony, we have to listen to this evidence, and show that Amber Heard has been lying, is talking half-truths, and just trying to paint an ugly picture to destroy Johnny, and that's it. Now to kick off the trash tweets, We're gonna read a tweet from Amber Heard herself. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I gotta put some really sad music over this. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. Your evidence was not nearly as good as his. All your evidence was believe what I'm saying, when Johnny's like, oh, look what I have. Look at the pictures I have. Oh, there's that one thing about Johnny Depp headbutted Amber, but it was an accident from a struggle. That was like the closest thing she had, in my opinion. But it's also very believable that that's what happened, because in a struggle, people do get hurt. In professional fights, headbutts happen all the time when they're clashing. They get too close and then they hit heads. It happens a lot. I'm sure she got bruised from that. I'm even more disappointed that what this verdict means for other women. It is a setback. No, it is not, bitch. No, it is not. What this is justice was brought. And women who have legitimate cases, they're gonna win. If you had a real case, if you were the real victim in this situation, if you weren't just trying to destroy Johnny Depp with your op-ed, when it's like, oh, I didn't name him, but it's like, obviously it's about him. That's so stupid. That is such a dumb, weaselly thing to even say or do. Where you make something, you know, it's like a subtweet, right? When people are just talking trash about someone, but they don't name them. And it's like, we all know who you're talking about. Why are you being a coward? And then if you try to backpedal, people do this all the time. They try to backpedal like, I wasn't talking about this person. This was just a metaphor. This is like the most cowardice shit you can do. Or it's like, you're already safe behind your keyboard and all this stuff. Just name the motherfucker. What's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna reply to you? You know, you can just mute them. I'm just saying. Or you could not do any of that stuff because it's just chicken shit. It sets back the clock to a time when women who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It set back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. That is so stupid. The reason why Johnny, he lost his reputation was destroyed, and he lost his jobs that he had, was because of how serious they took you. They took you so seriously that they overcorrected. They made sure Johnny was ousted, and then what happened to you? You still got to work. Even with all of the evidence, the first video I made about this, Justice for Johnny Depp, was 2 years ago in February 2020. So let's just say for 2 years, everybody knew about all this stuff that came out, all these recordings of you being abusive towards Johnny, and you still had people defending you, you still had Hollywood defending you. Like this is such a stupid thing to say. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that won in the UK. The UK with that whole Sun magazine or whatever it was, I think that was BS. And I'm glad that other countries' laws and their rulings doesn't matter when it comes to this, which is what you were trying to do. You're trying to be like, okay, so he didn't win in this, so it should literally be the same thing. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, this is the United States, baby. You don't like it? You can get it. I'm obviously kidding. I mean, I'm ashamed of this country too, man. Don't get me wrong. I live here. I love my country, but I'm deeply ashamed of my country at the same time. I'm still sad I lost this case, but I am sadder that I seem to have lost a right. Well, I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly.
Shut up, bitch!
Did somebody stop you from speaking? Didn't you write an op-ed that destroyed his career? Did somebody stop you from doing that? When did you stop? You're writing right now and you're speaking your mind. What are you talking about? You didn't. This is so silly. This is so stupid. It's like, just, I mean, of course she can't gracefully take the L. That's not in her character, right? If she had any grace or dignity at all, it never would have came to this in the first place. You know, because it's like one of those things where, and people do this. People are crazy. They will do a lot of shady stuff, and because they're so in love with themselves and their mind's so twisted that they don't think they're doing anything wrong. It is very clear that society is more concerned with protecting men from allegations of violence than it is with protecting women from violence itself. The point of the Heard Depp show trial was always to make an example of any woman daring to speak out against her abuser.
Shut up, bitch!
This is so dumb. Like, the Me Too movement destroyed so many men rightfully. Even in my video, my original video talking about Bill Cosby, talking about Harvey Weinstein and monsters like that, I'm like, this is a good thing. This thing has done a lot of good. And then unfortunately, there's some evil people that are taking advantage of this. She's one of those people. There was evidence in the trial talking about no one's going to believe you if you talk about this. If you go and like, if you speak out, no one's going to believe you. No one's going to take you seriously. She knows this. She's completely aware of that. She's aware that the public opinion was on her side in the very beginning, because it is natural to just give women the benefit of the doubt in the situation. But once the evidence came out and showed that she was the abusive and the crazy one, people were like, oh, never mind. This chick's evil. She sucks. And then now, like, this person right here, Lori Penny, is all like, oh my God, this was just a silence. There's no way you could have watched that trial and came to this conclusion, which I know a lot of people didn't watch the trial. I'm sure there's a lot of people that got news from their pundits that they watch and just fed them bullshit. This is what always happens. So she's probably listening to people who were only on Amber Heard's side and were only saying things in defense of Amber. And that's probably that's where her line of thinking comes from. The information that she's being fed. This chick went on a super long thread. She was like, for people who have been studying the misinformation campaign around the Depp versus Heard trial, the verdict is chilling. The success of Depp's redemption arc narrative reveals a lot about our social media platform and ourselves. I can't stand, I've seen so many tweets like this hipster tweet like, this says so much about our society and us than the trial itself. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, it doesn't. Like, this right here is an example of justice legitimately being served. This may not be the most serious issue ever, but this does pertain with domestic violence and how a lot of men, when they try to complain about being hit by women or this or that, it's just not taking that seriously, because they're like, well, she's not gonna it's the natural instinct is that, like, well, you could easily break her, you can destroy her, so whatever, I remember seeing a guy at this Mexican food restaurant that we always used to hang out after. I saw this this Samoan chick wailing on this dude, like, she's just as hard as can, and he knew he couldn't do anything because the other guys that were in the area would have beat his ass if he would have raised a finger. So you just have to sit there and take it. I mean, and he took it. He took his beating like a man. It was never about Johnny Depp or Amber Heard. It's all about discrediting women who come forward in the future. That entire media campaign on the right was this was just sure, there was people on the right, but I literally have not seen. No, that's not true. I've seen one tweet from that guy Jack Pussabed, whatever the fuck. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He's literally the only person I've seen on the right tweet about this. Everybody else, is prominent people that have no affiliation with politics in general, like acting like this is just a rightoid, chuddy campaign against women or discredit. Like, shut up, man.
Shut up, bitch!
If women can't speak about their experiences of gender abuse without incurring ruinous defamation suits, then functionally that speech by women is not free. Amber Heard did not even name her accuser. See, this is what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about earlier. Obviously, she put this out knowing this was going to cripple him. It's weird to see people behave this way and say things like this as if, like, oh yeah, you're being silenced and all this and this and that. No. If this were true and Johnny Depp didn't have a leg to stand on, there would be no need for a defamation lawsuit. And even if he did go forward and sue, even if he did, Amber's evidence would line up and then Johnny would lose. This was not some miscarriage of justice. And this is the last one I want to focus on because it's another one that just annoys me. So wait, the Johnny Depp / Amber Heard trial is over? Excuse me if I wasn't paying attention to that as our democracy burns and kids are being murked in schools. 19 kids and 2 teachers were slaughtered with a legally obtained AR-15 about a week ago, and Congress has done nothing to stop it from happening at your kid's school next. Johnny Depp doesn't matter. Like, there's a lot of tweets like that, right? And that those people, they annoy me because I understand that what happened in Uvalde is more important than this trial. but people have the capacity to care about multiple things at once. You can care about this trial and care about if Johnny was going to get justice, if justice would be served, if you can care about what's going on in Texas and within Congress. You can do both. People have the ability to multitask. Like, you don't have to be like, I can't believe people care about this. I'm gonna tell you something. Years ago, I used to be like that when I was dumb and young. I used to be like, oh, it's the bread and circuses. Everybody's distracted by the bread and circuses, and they don't care about the real issues and stuff. And as I got older, I'm like, dude, people deserve to take a break from not being pounded just continuously by doomsayer type news about stuff that just depresses people and stuff. And sometimes people want to be entertained, and sometimes people want to care about things that are a little bit lighter, and it's okay. Like, I felt like an idiot back in the day when I would think that way. And look, the Mr. Hogg, young kid. I mean, I'm sure he's like 18, 19, however old he is now, but it's par for the course.
Bitch!
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this thing's getting too long. There's just infinity billions of tweets out there. I mean, I tweeted out myself, I wanted to contribute a little bit because I am a man after all. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I mean, I already know what you guys think. I know you guys are going to be happy about this. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, stay sexy.